What's up, everybody? Welcome back to S'mores and Doors and the Midnight Files. And tonight we're talking about one of the most unsettling paranormal claims ever made: spontaneous human combustion. The idea is simple and horrifying. A person suddenly catches fire, burns intensely, and is found reduced to ash or bone, while the room around them is barely touched. No obvious fire source, no blazing inferno, no house burned to the ground. Just a body, a chair, maybe a scorched patch on the floor, and a mystery that smells like smoke and old fear. For centuries, these cases have been whispered about in newspapers, books, medical journals, paranormal circles, and late night conversations. Some people think spontaneous human combustion is proof that the human body can somehow ignite from within. Others say the explanation is much more earthly: cigarettes, fireplaces, alcohol, poor mobility, flammable clothing, and something called the Wick effect. Tonight we're asking, can a person really burst into flames from the inside? Or is spontaneous human combustion what happens when a tragic accident leaves behind a scene so strange that people reach for the impossible? I am Corey, your host, and I am joined tonight by Flesh Wound Dan. What's up, Dan?
What's up, Corey? How's it going?
Going well. Glad to have you here with me tonight. We're going to talk a little spontaneous human combustion. When you hear that term, do you think it's paranormal, a medical oddity, or something totally explainable like fire science?
I don't see any scenario where it would be medical.
Okay.
I think at the bare minimum that's been debunked. The human body just cannot catch fire through paranormal, supernatural, or whatever other means. So I would say it's not anything medical, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's I guess some people probably maybe had the theory like a pacemaker or something could spark, or but that's probably not very likely. What's up, Greg?
Hey, Greg.
And Cliff Booth.
What up? White man can jump.
That's right. But what's scarier to you? The idea that the body could randomly ignite, or the idea that an ordinary fire could do something this bizarre?
I think that obviously the idea of catching on fire is terrifying.
Sure.
For those that follow the wrestling side of Flesh Wound Features, Kruger's got like third-degree burns on his shoulders and everything. Yeah. He did a spot where you can see him get pulled off this wood sort of cross-looking thing, and it sucks. So it's a horrifying concept, but I don't believe it's medical. Now, I think in most cases you can explain some of it as somebody maybe had a little bit too much to drink and falls asleep on their recliner with a lit cigarette.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that would be most of the cases, but I know there are some specific cases where it's like, well, if it was just that, why didn't the fire spread? And I imagine we'll talk about some of that.
Yeah, we'll get into some of that. And I wanted to mention Greg's comment here that it's been debunked and end of topic. But it's an Art Bell themed show. A lot of that stuff was BS, of course. But there are...
That Mel's hole.
Yes. But there is history with this stuff. We'll kind of go into that stuff and how the rumor and innuendo, as Conrad Thompson would say, kind of got started. So and just enjoy the show, I guess. But let's start with the basic pattern here. In many cases, the victim is found burned far more severely than expected. Sometimes the torso is almost completely destroyed. Sometimes the hands or feet remain. Sometimes the nearby furniture is only lightly damaged. There may be smoke stains, greasy residue, or a small area of fire damage, but not the kind of widespread destruction people expect from a body burning that intensely. That is the part that grabs people. The body burns, but the room does not. That feels wrong, but most of us think fire as hungry. It starts, it spreads, it eats curtains, carpet, wood, walls, everything it can get its hot little teeth into. But when investigators find a body badly burned in a room that is still mostly intact, the scene looks impossible. And once something looks impossible, the paranormal creeps in through the cracks. Why do you think that some people that kind of believe this theory or have believed it in the past found these cases hard to believe as just normal fires? Just the mind wandering, you think?
Yeah, I mean, you look. I mean, number one, like I get why it would be weird because you would think in the moment of catching fire, generally, you would start running, trying to figure something out. You know, you'd probably end up spreading the fire everywhere. I mean, I know, like, if it were me, first thought is try and get maybe to my shower or something, you know, if I'm near a body of water, I guess. I mean, so I'd probably end up burning the whole house down.
Yeah.
I remember some cases about this too, where it was like maybe a trailer or something, a trailer park where you would think it's not, you know, maybe that it's not built as well as like a normal house. So why on earth would the whole thing not be ablaze in like a minute? So yeah, I don't know. There is something odd about certain cases. I do think a lot of times it can be explained as, you know, look, we all put deodorant on. You know, a lot of us use body spray.
Sure.
There's things that can make you flammable. We all wear clothes, you know, some ember cat or something. I mean, I think it's a freak thing, but I don't know. I'm not totally sold that there would be some sort of paranormal side to it either.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one
I feel like
iffy.
I feel like too that when people see a burned body and the rest of the room is fine, that kind of feeds that paranormal thought in people's mind as well. So they think it's something more than just a normal fire. But anyway, the history. Let's talk about the history of this thought process. It's been talked about for hundreds of years. Older accounts often had a moral angle. In the past centuries, some writers linked these deaths to heavy drinking, especially when the victim was found burned in a domestic setting. There was this old idea that alcohol somehow soaked the body and made it flammable from the inside. That sounds dramatic, but medically it does not really hold up. People do not become human lanterns because they had too much to drink. Still, the idea stuck around, partly because the scenes were strange, partly because the victims were often alone, and partly because humans love a mystery that makes the body feel like a haunted machine. Why do you think these old stories blamed alcohol so often?
I guess for, I don't want to say primitive, but like, you know, somebody without a lot of knowledge. I mean, they obviously figured out alcohol was flammable, so they just made that connection. Well, that's what's doing it. Drunks are drunk. May even be something somebody made up just to keep people in line.
Right. Yeah.
You know, don't overdrink or you'll catch fire. Just, you know, believe me, I have fapped many times and I've never gone blind. So you figure it out. Sometimes they're lying to you. So,
well, going along with that, can you think of any other paranormal legends that carry kind of that moral warning feeling?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of some.
Yeah. I mean, that goes back to, I mean, just, you know, fairy tales. Like, don't, you know, yeah. I mean, it's all kinds of different things. I mean, don't go into the woods at night. You know, a lot of it's designed to keep you behaving. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I just thought of that just now. That's not a bad theory. Somebody, maybe they knew better, maybe they didn't, but it's like you drink all the time and we know alcohol catches fire. So, yeah, better not be doing that. Live a godly life.
Or Christ-like and not Christian. whatever you choose to do. Well, let's talk about a famous case, I guess. It's the Mary Reeser case. In July of 1951, Reeser was found dead in her apartment in St. Petersburg, Florida. Her body had been severely burned. Reports often say that only part of 1 foot remained recognizable, along with the other remains. The chair she had been sitting in was destroyed, but much of the surrounding apartment was not consumed by fire. That detail made the case famous. How could a body burn so thoroughly while the rest of the room survived? Some reports say she may have taken sleeping medication before sitting in her chair. A common skeptical explanation is she may have fallen asleep while smoking, igniting her clothing. From there, the fire could have burned slowly and locally, fed by her body fat and clothing. But even with that explanation, the case has still an awful locked room quality to it. A chair, a body, a room that did not burn the way people expected, and a question mark made of ash. So does the Mary Reeser case sound paranormal to you, or just an accident with the unusual fire behavior?
I mean, I always come back and I would think you'd snap out of sleeping pills once you caught fire. I mean, I would think that would be very quick. Now, there's a lot of cases where somebody dies in a fire and it's not from the fire itself. Usually you do just the smoke.
Sometimes you're stuck in a room and can't get through a fire to get out. That happens a lot.
Sometimes you're dead long before you burn.
Yeah.
But obviously in this case, it's odd because, again, I would think panic would set in and you'd get there'd be signs, certainly, even if the whole place didn't burn. It wouldn't be just like that localized spot. There's also foul play. Now, I would think if somebody was looking to kill somebody, I don't know, like, did they immobilize her somehow, strap her down? That's possible. Did she have any enemies? I would think at a certain point you just throw gas and light the whole thing up just to make sure. So that seems a little questionable, but yeah, I mean, the biggest mystery to me is, like, being horror fans, we all know, like, Kane Hodder, when he sneaked out water. That's like your first, or stop, drop, and roll if you have no other options. I don't know. It is odd. It is.
I mean, the cigarette thing does happen. I actually knew a woman that burned to death in a fire because she fell asleep smoking. Which, like you said, it seems like that would wake you up, but maybe not.
Yeah, because if it's a localized fire, it's not a case where maybe the fire is way over here and maybe you passed out from smoke inhalation or something. Like, the fire would be like right along here. So you got to assume pretty quick your body would react. You would be on, it would be touching you pretty fast, if not immediately, and there'd be some kind of attempt at motion. I mean, if it's like an awful case where maybe it's an older person who couldn't move, or even in that case, I still feel like there would be some signs or attempt to just roll or fall, whatever you had to do to get out of the chair. But when it's a younger person, it is odd. It is odd now that I think about it, because like I said, I not to that extent, obviously, but I've known people who've been on fire, and believe me,
I wonder if there's, and this is a topic I may do on a future show, are some of these people in some kind of sleep paralysis and can't move?
And
or just in a state of shock, because they're on fire. I don't know.
Sleep paralysis is a weird one. It's a hell of a coincidence that you would happen to have that, but I guess there's only so many cases of spontaneous combustion, so
right.
I suppose that could be it. Now I know there is like that thing where like the fire, like the nerve dies, so you have that period where you're supposedly cold, and so I don't know if that's the case, but you're still having like a physical response to it. I know Kane Hodder talked about that, like the extreme pain kind of came later.
I hear it's one of the worst.
Yeah,
things to go through.
So I don't know. It's interesting to think about it. I don't know if we can bring that one up, Brad.
It might be that. We'll see. All right, let's move on to the Wick effect, and it's an explanation skeptics use when it comes to this. A candle works because wax melts and feeds the flame through the wick. In some fatal fire cases, clothing can act like the wick, and the body fat can act as the wax. If a person is already dead or unconscious, a small flame can begin burning clothing. Heat melts body fat. Fat soaks into the clothing or the fabric. The fire then burns slowly, steadily, and locally. It does not need to become a room engulfing blaze. It can smolder. That is why some bodies can be terribly burned while the surroundings are partially damaged, which probably leads to Greg's point there about the pig carcasses. And it is not spontaneous in the magical sense. There has to be an ignition source, like a cigarette, fireplace ember, candle heater, or other flame. But once it begins, the scene can look deeply strange. Does this Wick effect make sense to you, or does it sound like science is trying to explain away the weird factor of this?
I mean, that is sounds kind of plausible to me. I'm pretty convinced that there's no paranormal or supernatural, and I'm open to that stuff, but as you've seen in other topics, but I really don't see that in this particular case. It's creepy, but I mean, again, it's just, to me, it's just that you would move, you would get up, you would run, you would scream. Maybe there's a point where you can't do that, where you're just you're done. You fall down and you just die. But that initial, people run. I mean, you can see photos out there, stunts gone wrong, or videos. I mean, and almost always they run, they panic, they stop, they roll, so it is strange. It is. I
feel like I would panic too, which is bad. But
oh yeah, no, you would almost certainly make it worse, just because you're not thinking logically when you're on fire.
No.
I'd like to think I'd have just enough sense to try and all right, try and get into the shower, see if you can get water on you, roll around. I mean, if it happened at home too, like you would think, like, get to the bathroom. That's your really your only option in that case if you're alone.
Brad says painter rags spontaneously combust with chemicals. And there's a bushcraft trick where you take a char cloth and a tube and slam it. The air gets so hot it ignites the char cloth. Okay. And Greg mentions the lady on the subway that was set on fire barely moved, or didn't she? Yeah, probably.
I'm trying to remember the exact details on that one. I mean, the worst video is that monk that lit himself on fire.
Yeah. Let's talk about the about why the room doesn't burn. It's one of the biggest reasons people believe in spontaneous human combustion. And but the fire doesn't always behave like a movie explosion. A slow fire can stay localized, especially if there's not enough airflow or if nearby materials aren't easy to ignite. A victim might be in a chair wrapped in clothing, blankets, or upholstery, creating a small fuel system. The fire burns inward and downward instead of outward. Meanwhile, the rest of the room gets smoke damage, heat damage, maybe melted plastic, but not total destruction. To someone walking into the scene afterward, that can look impossible. With the fire, investigators know that real fires can be weird little goblins. They do not always follow our expectations. So maybe part of this is just people kind of misunderstand how fire traditionally behaves. I guess that could be something.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not always like some inferno that just burns everything to ash, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I confess probably ignorance on some of this. It just,
yeah,
there would still be pain, and you wouldn't immediately be immobilized. So it's strange.
Yeah.
The lady on that subway, if I remember right, like that was obviously, I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I that wasn't somebody that would. I'm trying to wrap my head and remember that exact case in my head. I know what you're talking about. In fact, I don't even know if that trial has been done yet, but there was some motion with her, right? I think I've only seen the lead up to the video, so I can't, I can't really say for sure.
Brad says compost piles will catch on fire. Decomposition creates heat. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, I think we've pretty well established it's not a paranormal thing, but
yeah.
What up, Drew? We're talking about spontaneous combustion.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. She was satellite when she was asleep. All right. So that goes along with if you had if she had a cigarette and fell asleep, I guess.
I mean, if I'm even in a deep sleep and you walked up to me and just sort of, smacked my head or something, I'm going to wake up.
Yeah.
I mean, even I'm a fairly deep sleeper. I more or less sleep through the night. But I don't know. That's just hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, you could wake me up by not inflicting pain, just by touching my shoulder, or, maybe my cat jumps on my back or something. Like, that wakes me up. I would say most people, that's the case. So,
yeah.
I don't know what it is. I know about, like, the nerves. At a certain point, like, the nerves are basically just dead. So, you might not be in as much pain as you're expecting at a certain point, but I don't know.
All right, well, let's look at this case from 2010. It's often brought up in these discussions, and it's the case of Michael Faraday. In 2010, Faraday, a 76-year-old man in Galloway, Ireland, was found dead in his home. His body had been badly burned, and investigators reportedly could not find a clear external source that fully explained the fire. At the inquest, the coroner recorded the death as spontaneous combustion, which made headlines. That is unusual. You rarely see official language like that. But even here, there is debate. Some people treat the case as proof that spontaneous human combustion is real. Others say spontaneous combustion in this context may have been used because the ignition source cannot be determined, not because science had confirmed a person can randomly ignite from within. There is a difference between we did not know how the fire started and the body created its own fire. So do you think headlines like that can make cases sound more mysterious than they really are?
Yeah, I do. You can search. Well, I mean, you've been in that business before. Like you can find local articles depending on who wrote it, and you're trying to sell a story. You're trying to sell a product.
Sure.
I think that's a lot worse now than it used to be. So you're going to go sensational with everything and try.
I'm sure those people that wrote those stories or did those news reports, their eyes lit up when the coroner said it was spontaneous combustion.
So, I'm sure and you know what? If you could look at the numbers, I would bet you that probably sold a lot of newspapers.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely.
So
I'm sure if I would have that would have came across my feed, I would have read that article.
Oh yeah, me too. No, I mean, I was the kid that always wanted to buy Weekly World News. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So even though I knew it was like almost all bullshit, like it's cool. It's cool to read about that sort of thing. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of charlatans out there. So
sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right,
I have some questions about this, but this is a case where it's just like I just feel like I just don't know enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's something more grand at play.
Let's take a look at the paranormal theories. Let's see. Some people think spontaneous human combustion is caused by unknown energy inside the body. Maybe chemical reaction, maybe electrical energy, maybe something connected to the nervous system, metabolism, or even emotional stress. Others go further. They suggest psychic energy, poltergeist activity, curses, demonic forces, divine punishment, alien experimentation, interdimensional weirdness, the whole buffet of the bizarre. There are even theories that people under extreme emotional pressure somehow release destructive energy. That sounds dramatic and there's no solid scientific proof for it, but it has a strong place in paranormal storytelling because it turns the body into a haunted furnace. Fire is not outside you, the fire is you. That's why the legend sticks. Which of those paranormal theories do you find most interesting? Or of any paranormal theory do you find most interesting, even if you don't believe it?
Well, I mean, we are made up of energy, you know, energy is eternal, can't be created, can't be destroyed. That's science. So I don't know. The alien thing to me, I feel like aliens are advanced enough that they're not getting any kind of data by setting us on fire. You know, unless it's just a case of magnifying glass and ants and the aliens are just cunts.
Someone mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, if it's that case and it's just like some alien, like, you know, Patrick Bateman or something. But I'm going to say probably not.
Ben says, wasn't this Janine Saffin case one of the few where witnesses saw the fire ignite on her body? That one I'm not familiar with. Maybe it's in my notes here. I just haven't seen it. I'll have to look into that, though. That's interesting. And he also says he hears people on a keto diet are more flammable because the acetone is produced while in ketosis. I mean, it could be.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think if you're on the keto diet, you really have to worry too much about this. But
I would still say you need an ignition source, probably, if that was the case.
I mean, there's scenarios like I said, if you wear cologne, if you use Axe body spray, you know, maybe if you're like me, you're in an area where you got a lot of mosquitoes. Maybe you're rubbing alcohol on your foot or something. You know, obviously that would make you more susceptible to an ember or some freak thing. But yeah, I don't know. But that case, I do vaguely remember it, and I've heard that reference before. Yeah,
I mean, things are possible, I guess.
What year was that case? Was that referenced in the spontaneous combustion movie, or?
Let me see if I can find it.
I'm trying to remember the details. I know that name.
'82.
Yeah, I bet it was. I'm not a big fan of Firestarter or spontaneous combustion, so although I probably am due a rewatch of spontaneous combustion. Brad Dourif's always worth watching, but
well, let's look at this segment's called the body horror factor. A lot of paranormal topics scare us because they suggest something is outside the window, whether it be ghosts, cryptids, UFOs, or shadow people. Spontaneous human combustion is different. There's no monster outside, the monster is biology. That makes it more intimate and much more disturbing. Your own body becomes the haunted house. Your skin, your fat, your clothing, your chair, your cigarette, your living room, all of it becomes part of the scene. Spontaneous human combustion stories also tend to involve people alone, sitting in a chair, sleeping, resting, existing in an ordinary room. That ordinariness makes it worse. A cursed castle is one thing, a recliner catching history's weirdest fire in a quiet living room is another. You think spontaneous human combustion is scarier, the thought of it anyway, because it happens in ordinary places?
It's it makes you maybe a little bit paranoid. Don't leave your candles on. I'm not a smoker, but that's probably a good reason to, I don't know, maybe only smoke when you're up and about. Don't sit down and enjoy a smoke if you're alone.
Yeah, I mean,
does that really happen though?
I mean, lightning can fry your electronics and stuff like that. So I don't know.
My brother was actually hit by lightning. So I mean, I know it, but he was outside and he was, doing something he shouldn't do on a camper of ours. But just sitting in your chair, I don't know that I've ever heard a confirmed case where you're just sitting in your chair and boom. I mean, houses get struck and everything, but I don't know. I've just never heard of a confirmed case of that.
Ben says he had ball lightning appear in his living room once. So,
really,
it's interesting.
Did it? I mean, any damage or? I mean, I'm open to possibilities.
All right. Well, let's
like an alien thing where it's like I've seen things that I think there's a lot of evidence. I just haven't seen the evidence on this.
Let's talk about the skeptics versus believers. Skeptical case is pretty strong. Most allege victims were near possible ignition sources. Many were elderly, ill, intoxicated, asleep, or had limited mobility. Some were smokers. Some were near fireplaces, heaters, candles, or stoves. That does not make their deaths less tragic. It makes them more explainable. The Wick effect can account for severe burning in a localized area. Poor ventilation can limit spread. Clothing and upholstery can sustain a slow burn, and if the victim cannot respond, the fire has time. So the skeptical position is this: people do not randomly burst into flames. Instead, small fires sometimes create shocking scenes that look impossible afterwards. But believers push back. They point to cases where ignition sources were never clearly identified. They point to the bodies reduced to ash while nearby objects survived. They point to repeated pattern, isolated victim, intense burning, limited room damage, strange remains. They argue that the Wick effect explains everything. If the Wick effect explains everything, investigators should always be able to find a clear source. But sometimes they cannot. And that's where the mystery lives. Not in proof, in absence. No match, no candle, no fireplace ember, no obvious starting point, just the aftermath. Does the absence of evidence enough to keep paranormal theory alive, or is it just kind of feed that theory?
I don't think there's anything paranormal. I mean, like what Ben's describing, I'm sure there could be like some scientific method. Yeah. Something that could just happen. I don't know. I can't come up with a good paranormal theory on this one, really. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing, like you said, once you're on fire too, like if it was a cigarette that did it, and this would be a question for a forensics person, but I would imagine you wouldn't even be able to tell that.
Right.
I mean, I know some evidence, like with fire, would just be gone.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody in forensics can weigh in the comments if they ever come across this video. But yeah.
It says he's seen a case where lightning struck a bathroom and burned a toilet up. I don't know about lightning,
make
but
everybody afraid to sit on the shitter.
I've burned up some toilets after some Taco Bell. That's for sure.
I was gonna say Taco Bell explains it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one just sounds like a case where whatever it is, there's not much you can do beyond just fire safety. I've seen people be fucking stupid when it comes to fires. You really do have to take that seriously. Even if you're just lighting a candle, you know, you gotta take steps, be safe, and, you know, probably smoking and drinking while sitting down at the end of the day, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So let's take a look at the main theories of this. Theory 1 is spontaneous human combustion is real and the body can ignite through some unknown internal process. Theory 2, the cases are caused by ordinary ignition sources followed by the Wick effect. Theory 3, some cases are accidents made mysterious by missing evidence. Theory 4, the legend grew because people misunderstood fire behavior. Theory 5, a small number of cases remain genuinely unexplained. Which of those theories you feel like is the most likely?
Missing evidence.
Okay.
And there is also that side of maybe somebody killed somebody and
sure.
destroyed evidence. I wonder, and again, this would be a question for a more knowledgeable person, if like say maybe somebody got doused with gasoline or something. I know they can tell through, like if you had a blow to the head or something, like they can still tell foul play, but again, depending on the circumstance, I mean, would they be able to detect if a person had some gasoline on them before they got lit up? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, something where they have you sort of maybe pinned down to where you can't just run. I don't know. I don't know, but I'd say missing evidence.
A fart hits a spark. That's been debunked, hasn't it? I think.
I feel like that'd have to be intentional.
Yeah. All right. Pop culture and the legend. Spontaneous human combustion has also become a pop culture monster. Shows up in books, TV shows, documentaries, tabloids, horror movies, and paranormal programs. It is one of those topics that feels scientifically dressed but spiritually weird. Wears a lab coat over a Halloween costume. That's why it keeps surviving. Just has enough science to sound possible and just enough mystery to feel cursed. And unlike ghosts and cryptids, spontaneous human combustion does not require you to believe in another realm or creature. It only asks you to fear your own body and the ordinary room around you. That is efficient horror. Very economical, horrible, little budget conscious nightmare. Where did you first hear about spontaneous human combustion?
Probably it would have probably have been the movies.
Okay.
Would it have been like Firestarter at that point? I mean, I was very young. I was a little kid when I first heard of that concept. I could have heard something on the news or Unsolved Mysteries or something like that. So I can't pinpoint exactly when. It is a terrifying concept. I don't know that anybody's ever fully captured that and done it justice as a horror concept on film.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's really shit all that you could do about it. And this is probably a dumb theory, but we're kind of made up of water, right? So
yeah,
internally, I'm trying to figure out how that would work. Again, a scientist probably thinks I'm like a dumb caveman right now on that one, but I just don't quite see. I don't quite see internally. Well, there you go. You might have solved. Yeah. Could have been unsolved mysteries.
I'm almost positive I first read about it and got intrigued by it. I think it was probably there was a Ripley's Believe It or Not book or something that had something about it. I used to get those books like that, and like I don't know if you ever got the book of lists from the libraries. I loved those books like that when I was young, and so I think it was in something like that. But I'm sure I saw it on Unsolved Mysteries. Maybe the Ripley's Believe It or Not show too. It might have been a story on that, but since we do talk horror a lot, do you want to talk a little bit about the Tobe Hooper movie?
I haven't watched it in a long time. I remember Brad Dourif being a highlight. It's one of those movies that's on our to be reviewed list at some point on Flesh Wound, and that was my memory. He was really good. It wasn't the greatest movie. Certainly was kind of when we were getting to a pretty heavy downturn for Toby. But you've got me wanting to rewatch that movie. It's been a minute.
I need to check it out. I think I saw it one time way back and may have not even watched the whole thing. So may give it a watch.
It's actually funny that you're doing this topic because you've got a Death Curse wrestling show. We've got a burning match that we're doing. So we've got a fire related match to pay homage to the burning. So that'll be intentional burning though. So
all right. So final segment here is just a few quick questions, and I think we both probably don't believe spontaneous human combustion is real. So I'm assuming you're in the same boat there.
Yeah, on this one, I'm definitely the skeptic.
But what case or detail kind of stuck with you the most?
I think just combined the whole why would there be no motion? Because I know I would be flipping out. I've known people who have like maybe I don't know doing something stupid like set their shoe on fire, or pant leg on fire, and immediately it's like oh fuck, and you just you go nuts. So that's like the most striking thing to me about it. I feel like there's an explanation that is in no way paranormal or magical or anything like that. Even the lightning strike, like I don't know, like it just feels like it'd be a little more messy.
Yeah,
it'd be a little more messy. There'd be So I don't know. I've had lightning strike a couple times, like right outside the window and everything. I don't know too many people. Ben, you'd be on a very short list where it ever like hit inside.
Yeah, I haven't heard that much. I'm with you there. So, what do you think's scarier? Assuming both could be real, a paranormal fire from within inside the body, or a normal fire that can quietly do that much damage?
Fire's fire. Fire's scary. I mean, if some sort of paranormal thing where somebody can just click their fingers and make it happen, I mean that's scary, but there's shit all you can do about it. So I've got to think something that powerful at that point would probably not behave that way, but if such a creature, entity, whatever existed, but no, fire is terrifying. I've seen people be reckless about it. We've all seen like the California fires, Australia, which is just fucking awful if you followed that, just all the wildlife that got wiped out in Australia. Fire's terrifying. It should be respected. Whatever you're doing involving fire, you really got to respect the fire, even if you're just lighting a Yankee candle for a holiday or something. Control your environment, be extra careful. But no, I don't think that there is any paranormal or supernatural means to this. If you respect fire, you'll probably be okay.
According to the CDC, lightning hitting indoors is surprisingly common.
Well, that is interesting because, like I said, you might be the only person I know personally that's ever had it hit inside.
I guess my last question is, I don't think you smoke at all, but if you did, would you ever fall asleep in a chair with a lit cigarette after hearing all these stories?
No, so I use candles. I'll light incense from time to time. Mm-hmm. I'm very careful. In fact, I don't like doing it unless I'm like right there. I don't like walking away from it, or certainly I've known people that will just leave candles on and like go out. And I get it. It's probably just going to burn out. It's not going to just randomly explode, but I'm kind of like, you should never leave a flame of any kind unattended.
I don't even use candles anymore. I use like the wax melts kind of for that.
I use those too. Yeah. No. I use the wax melts. There is still something about a candle, especially like
there is. Like I love those. I love those woodwick ones that crackle.
Yeah.
So I will burn those if I have one. But
I don't do it excessively. I do more wax melts and incense than anything, but I do like lighting. Those cheap like pumpkin candles at Walmart, the Great Value ones. You light a few of those, it makes your house smell really nice. So I'll still do that, but you got to watch. Like, in my case, I've got cats, so I have to make sure that I'm right there and I can see, make sure there's no problems. And it may sound overly paranoid, but I will blow them out even if I'm going outside for 2 seconds to check the mail.
Yeah, better be safe than sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
So spontaneous human combustion sits in that strange borderland between science, folklore, and nightmare. Maybe it's not spontaneous at all. Maybe it's just fire behaving in ways most of us do not understand. Maybe it's a tragic accident dressed up by tabloids and fear. Or maybe there are still a few cases where something happened we cannot fully explain. Either way, it remains one of the most disturbing legends in the paranormal world because it does not need a haunted mansion, cursed object, or a monster in the woods. It only needs a room, a chair, a body, and a flame that no one can quite account for. If you guys have any comments, if you're watching this at a later time, if you have any comments on spontaneous human combustion, please leave them in the chat or in the comments below the video. Love to hear your thoughts on that. And also drop in some future show ideas. Always looking for some shows coming up. I can usually find any kind of topic, but I like to see what everyone else is interested in, and we can dive into that stuff as well. But that'll be it for spontaneous human combustion. Of course, it's one that doesn't get talked about a lot anymore. I know Jonathan and I have talked about this. That and the Bermuda Triangle were huge things when we were kids, and neither one are really even mentioned anymore. So
Bermuda Triangle is an interesting rabbit hole to go down.
And I'm sure we'll hit that at some point too. But
I do think there's more possibilities to that to dive into. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do. We'll definitely look into remote viewing too, Ben. I'm down for that. I always loved that on Art Show, so we'll definitely tackle that in the future. But Dan, what you guys got coming up on Flesh Wound and all the Flesh Wound stuff going on?
We will have a live show on Flesh Wound Features here on YouTube on Tuesday. And we're getting close. We're just under a month now to Flesh Wound Features presents You've Got a Death Curse, live from Corona, California at the Reina-Dome. And this is our live pro wrestling tribute to the summer slashers that you all know and love. We just announced an Unhappy Campers match inspired by Sleepaway Camp 2 between BC Killer and The Body. And that one is going to be violent. So I can say, if you're a pro wrestling fan, there is some huge, very huge shit that's yet to be announced. But the rest of this year and into next year, there's some pretty shocking shit that you're not going to expect coming. So, nice. Subscribe to Flesh Wound Features on YouTube, and you'll learn all about it. We might, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but You've Got a Death Curse. Some of it, maybe at the very least, we might stream.
Okay. Cool.
YouTube and violence permitted, but it will stream somewhere.
Awesome.
Probably multiple places. So check us out.
Pornhub will be on there.
Hey, I'm down to put it on Pornhub.
S'mores and Doors will be back Monday night for Monday Night Live again. I'm sure we'll probably talk about all the announcements Severn have, which has been pretty outstanding for their halfway sale. It's almost like a Black Friday type sale with all those big titles they're putting out. So they killed Vinegar Syndrome's halfway sale in terms of titles.
Yeah, this is actually, I think this might be Severn's best overall year for new titles. Now the new titles aren't going to be on sale, but But yeah, I mean it's pretty much all bangers.
Yeah,
it's a really good mix of stuff. And I just realized I don't think I saw what the new announcement was today. What was it? Because I've been
absurd 4K.
Okay, I figured that was coming. Yeah, so that adds to it. Maniac remake, Autopsy of Jane Doe. Like, my wallet can't take it.
Yeah, lots of stuff they're putting out. And also another big announcement. Sometime, hopefully this week, be bringing back Bell Classics. So
awesome.
I'm trying to find some editing software somewhere that I don't have to pay $500 for. So ideally $0 for it. So, but I'm struggling right now. So, but I'll find something because I got to be able to edit out the commercial music of those. So, and then make a video. So I could do the audio through Audible or not Audible, Audacity, because that's free. But then I got to be able to put it together as a video. Not always easy to find a video software. So if anybody has any suggestions, leave it in the chat as well. So
please do.
But anyway, got that coming up. Like I said, Monday we'll talk Severn and something else. I'm sure we'll come up with something. And but until then, check out Flesh Wound Features, and we'll see you Monday night here on S'mores and Doors. Have a good night.
Have a good one.